Good evening, everyone. Glad you could join us. As people are logging in, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, welcome everyone to the spring 2024 edition of State of Mines. My name is Brian Winklebauer, and I'm the president and CEO of the Mines Foundation. We're delighted to have you join us live, or those of you who will watch the video recording of this. We appreciate your willingness to keep informed about mines and stay engaged. See a lot of familiar names joining us. Thank you so much to all of you, especially those of you who are on the Foundation's Board of Governors, the Mines Alumni Board, and the Mines Board of Trustees. We certainly appreciate your volunteer service to Mines. So tonight we'll focus on a few of the amazing things happening at Mines. There are lots. We'll try to answer as many of your questions as we can, both in the presentation and then at the end with the time we have remaining. So thanks to those of you who submitted questions already. But please feel free, as you have questions that come up throughout the presentation, to use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen, and we'll do our best to address all of the questions. If we don't get to your question, we will reach out to you after the session and see if we can't help you out through email or a phone call. Well, it is the sesquicentennial. It is here. It's hard to believe. 2024, Mines' 150th anniversary. And the first event we did this year was actually I Dig Mines, our annual giving day on February 8th. And it was a huge success. Records were set for dollars raised and number of donors who gave. So thanks to all of you who participated. You're making a huge difference at Mines for an incredible array of programs, departments, student organizations. And as has happened in the past, athletics won a few of those incentive match challenges. And you'll hear from athletics director David Hansberg tonight. Athletics is winning a lot lately, and David and his coaches are doing a fantastic job. The Mines Alumni Board won the board challenge. We have a challenge between the Board of Governors, the Board of Trustees, and the Mines Alumni Board, and they won again this year. So you'll hear from new president of the Mines Alumni Board, Melanie Westergaard. The next day, after I Dig Mines, we celebrated the grand opening of the Labrial Innovation District and the Labrial Innovation Hub facility, which was right before Mines' 150th birthday bash. And we estimate, Paul, we had over 3,000 people who attended, and the students turned out in force. It was an incredible day. It certainly helped that we had free giveaways. That always works to draw students in. But you'll hear more from President Johnson about the E&I ecosystem that has been developed on campus. And you will get a chance to meet another awesome Mines student who has a strong association with innovation and entrepreneurship. Parmita is a student employee with the Engineering, Design, and Society Department and is a student lead in the Labriola Innovation Hub. And I'm sure she'll talk about her experience running the woodshop. So bring that up. That's pretty cool. So the E&I ecosystem, athletics, alumni involvement and engagement are just a few of the top priorities of the Mines at 150 strategic vision. And we're really fortunate to have worked alongside the university on the campaign for Mines at 150, which was developed in support of the strategic plan. And we're really proud to say that donors have helped to enable many aspects of the vision already, not only through financial support, but also through their involvement and through their vision. That includes entrepreneurship and innovation, athletics, the student experience, among many, many others. Recently, this campaign surged past our original goal of $450 million in gifts and commitments, and we are in pursuit of $500 million in private support for Mines. Truly a remarkable achievement, and I know we can get there. there's a lot to celebrate, but more work to be done. So we hope you'll continue to be inspired by Minds' great students, faculty, and staff and administration. All right, on with the show. So it is my great pleasure to introduce the president of Minds. Paul Johnson is in his 9th month of his 9th season as quarterback for all of Minds. And he and his wife, Elise, they do wear jerseys that have number 17 on it. They truly are the great leaders for Minds. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Paul for his leadership. You know, we hear from a lot of our peers at other university foundations who are not as fortunate as we are to have a leader along with his team of administrators who are such great partners in our efforts to advance Minds. So, President Johnson, on to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Brian, and thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks everybody for supporting Minds. And you know, your passion, your interest, your support is what drives us and inspires us to keep going. So, thank you for all of that, Brian. Thank you for you and your operation for such a successful fundraising campaign. And I look forward to, I think, about a year from now when we're going to have a big bash to celebrate the end of the campaign and blowing past that new $500 million goal that you've got to reach. So anyway, what I thought I would do, first of all, happy sesquicentennial to everybody. Hopefully we've all got that word down, that we can spell it and say it now after practicing for 7 or 8 years. I thought I would share a few pictures of the things Brian was just talking about, and then I will introduce one of the stars of the show, Parmita, to you, and she's going to tell you about what some of these things have to do with you. So bear with me just a minute as I launch some slides here. Hopefully everybody can see those. Yes, it is the 150th anniversary year, and we're going to make the most of it. We're going to celebrate as often and as frequently and as creatively as possible. And that, first of all, started with a proclamation from the governor about Minds and its impact over the past 150 years. And we were recognized down at the Capitol, both in the both chambers down at the Capitol this year as well. And it was great to have that recognition from the state. In this picture, we've got our some of our student and faculty leads here, as well as our state senator Jesse Daniels, who helped get us to be recognized on the floor down at the Senate Capitol. So anyway, that was a great way to start the year. And then Brian mentioned the grand opening of both the Labriola Innovation Hub building and the Labriola Innovation District. Just to give you a little bit of sense, and Brian said we estimated over the course of the day we had more than 3,000 people come to show up for that. Now, any of you who have ever come to a building opening on Minds campus knows that 100, 200 people is a big number. So to have pretty much most of the campus show up, that was pretty remarkable. And we happen to have a beautiful day as well. So it was great. You'll hear us talk about the Labriola Innovation Hub, which is the building, and that's sort of to the left of this picture. And then the complex itself encompasses the Innovation Hub. On the right side of the picture are the repurposed campus shops area, which we're now renaming the X-Works facility for students to be able to do larger projects in there. Like you may be familiar with the Formula One SAE car. Some senior design projects are happening in there. Parmita is going to tell you a little bit more about what happens in the Labriola Innovation Hub itself, because she's in charge of all that. And you just got promoted, yeah. And then very close by, we've got the McNeil Hall classrooms that are there, which have been here for a couple of years. And that's all part of the Labriola Innovation District. And then on the other side of campus, complementing all of this as part of the entrepreneurship innovation ecosystem, is the new Beck Venture Center building, which we will have a sort of the formal grand opening of that in April. I think it's April 4th. Is that right, Brian? Will be the day that we do that. But the students have already discovered the inside of that building, because about a month ago we opened a new Einstein's on campus in there. So it is also a very popular building. The Innovation Hub also has a coffee shop in it as well. So anyway, just want to give you a sense of what the energy and excitement was like out there, and that Brian wasn't lying when he said a lot of people turned out to see this. We of course had a ribbon cutting, and we got folks who have helped really to make this project possible, to help us cut the ribbon there. So Charlie McNeil, of course, helped us start the McNeil Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Don Thorse has named the capstone design lab that's in the building. And of course, really, Frank and Mary Labriola started the whole thing off for us with the cost of that. So this building would still only be a dream to us if it hadn't been for donors out there who really understood the value of doubling down on hands-on education at Mines and supporting all the creative geniuses that we have running around campus, and the future innovators and people who just like to make stuff. So I really, thank Frank and Mary for starting it all off, and then everybody else who sort of joined the trip to make this building a reality. And I think because we've been talking about it so much, and because what it means to campus, I really think that had something to do with the large turnout that we had that day. People wanted to really see what this was all about. Of course, it did help a little bit that we gave away mugs and cupcakes, and that of course was a big draw. Those mugs are now collector's items because there was a limited supply, and they went. So if you know someone who's got one of those, they're probably not going to share it with you, is my guess. And Melanie, are you drinking from one right now in the picture there? I think so. Yeah, I've got one hanging up back over here too. So I keep I've got a little I think Apple AirTag on it, so in case it disappears, I can find it, because that's how much people are looking around for those mugs. But we also had Blaster and George and Barbara Pulls there. So that between cupcakes, mugs, Blaster, and the Pulls, you're bound to have 3,000 people show up for the party. So anyway, that was a lot of fun to have such a great turnout over there for the event, and some pictures of what goes on inside the Innovation Hub. Really, again, it's there. So when students dream things up, or they come up with new devices or solutions to problems that they're posed to by companies outside, they've got a place where they can prototype these things, and they can test them out, and they can keep working through that iterative cycle to make something that's really pretty cool and interesting. So these are some pictures of people at work in there, and you can see sort of the nature of the space. It's very industrial-like, with lots of utilities and things hanging from the ceiling, and tables and things you can move around, and lots of state-of-the-art equipment in there. So the downstairs tends to be a lot of the sort of more traditional maker space. Upstairs, there's a lot of meeting space for students. So this is to support student teams that are working on a project. So there's like conference rooms up there. There's huddle rooms up there. Students can plug their computers into the monitors and hang up out there. And it's turned into be quite a popular place to park and study and work on projects with your friends. What I think is even more cool about the great equipment that's in there and all the things that it's enabling. And by the way, from a size standpoint, between the X Workshops area and the Library Innovation Hub, we've probably added about 40,000 square feet of new makerspace to campus. But in addition to the space and all that equipment, what's really cool to me is it's run by students. And of course, there is some adult supervision in the picture, but there is an army of students who work in this facility who are super excited about helping their fellow students out. That to me is sort of a lot of the energy and the excitement to me that's in there. And when you get to meet anybody who works in there, you will be amazed by how the operation is coming about so quickly. And we have one of the stars here of that team, who I've had the fortune of having tours given by Parmita, and she's here next to me in the photo. We've also got the Don and Lois Thorson here, who supported the capstone lab in the building. So I just wanted to introduce to you Parmita, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, what she's doing here at Mines, what she's engaged in, and maybe what this building means to her, and why even in the last semester of her senior year, she is spending so much time to activate this new space for us. So, Armita, take it away.
Thank you so much, President Johnson. Hello, everybody. My name is Parmita Madavi. I want to start by thanking the foundation, thanking everybody for having me here, and thank you all for tuning in, celebrating 150 on Minds. It's extremely exciting. So as President Johnson said, I'm a graduating senior in engineering physics with a focus in space and planetary science. I also have a minor in public affairs through the McBride Honors Program, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. And yeah, I've had a lot of involvement in entrepreneurship and innovation. I know my major may not sound like it off the bat. Physics may not be to some people the most like hands-on or application, but I think I've definitely broken that stereotype by being one of the most hands-on students on campus. So my involvements actually started with the engineering design and society department. When I came in as a freshman, I had a little bit of woodworking skills, so I applied to be a wood shop supervisor in the Old Digger design, which if y'all remember, it was a really small shop, really secluded. So I actually worked there for about 3 years, and I worked my way up to being the lead supervisor. So I actually trained the other students in the wood shop in terms of safety and equipment and maintenance. And I also love my job because I just saw hundreds of students coming in throughout the year working on their projects. But I always heard that there just wasn't enough space, wasn't enough for them. So when I heard about Labriola, I got super, super excited. And even though it's in my last semester of college, I've tried to get as much of it and soak up as much of it as I can before I head out. So yeah, kind of going into that, my role currently in Labriola, I was hired back in October as a student lead. And that was just to kind of form what we wanted Labriola to look like in terms of managing, in terms of spaces. And when Paul says that it is run by students, he's truly not lying. We have some amazing directors and faculty, but we have an army of 40 students constantly working to make this space what it is. I mean, in terms of coming up with the trainings, coming up with the rules, the safety, the uniforms, everything, it's all up to the students, which makes this space incredibly unique. So yeah, besides being a student lead, I'm the team liaison. So I'm the mainstream communicator between our 40 staff members and our faculty members, so such as Victoria Bell, AJ Lugard, and Julia Roos. So I'm kind of that mainstream communication to make sure we're getting things done effectively. And also I'm a woodshop co-lead. So I still get to kind of be hands-on and work on that. And we're actually super excited to have opened the woodshop this week. So we're already seeing some foot traffic coming in. And it's been, again, super exciting. And as President Johnson said, Labriola is truly such a unique area because downstairs in the first floor, we have our machine shop and wood shop, and we have an electronics lab, a tool crib, a space to build things. We also have the cornerstone capstone spaces, and the upstairs is kind of our maker space. So we have a 3D printing and sewing maker space. We have a software maker space for coding and computing, and then a ton of places to study and have meetings. So I truly enjoy working there, and it's honestly been such a fun experience. Besides that, on campus, I just love how all the opportunities that I've gotten to do. I've also helped co-found and co-lead a club called Kickstart, which is a multicultural organization on campus based on having important discussions that kind of bring our community together. And just being able to, in 4 short years, being part of Labriola and also have created a multicultural organization is something truly unique to Minds, and it would not have been possible with the administrative help and the support of the students. So again, thank you all for all making that happen. And on top of that, another huge thank you to all the donors and all the alumni that keep giving back to Minds. Because of you, I was able to complete my McBride practicum this past winter, and I actually spent a month and a half abroad in East Asia. I was in Korea and also in Thailand studying the effect of food on culture preservation. So again, that would not have been possible without the HE funds and the donors that keep making this happen. So I myself am one very joyous receiver of all these gifts, and I just want to thank you for all this, and I hope to come back one day and give to the programs myself. So with that said, I'll give it back to President Johnson.
Great. And hey, Parmita's going to ask you one question, and then we'll catch up with you with some more later. But one of the things that I think is kind of cool about Labriola that you see and you're involved in is pretty much every tour of prospective students on campus now is going through Labriola, right? What's your sense of what what's the reaction of the people who are coming to take a look at mines to when they walk through that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, President Johnson, you're absolutely right. We've counted like up to 20 or 25 tours a day. So at any point that our students are working in the building, we have people coming in, people with their parents, with their aunts, their siblings, everything are coming through. And we've actually had a meeting with admissions to really point down our like spiel about Labriola, making sure that even if the admission tour guides are not experienced in Labriola, they're giving justice to everything and making sure everything is correct. But if I could describe it in one word, they're all amazed. Every time they walk past the machine shop, I see cameras being pulled out, pictures being taken, questions being asked about the program, like, oh my God, like who's allowed to work in here? Are they supposed to work on personal projects? And I'm definitely seeing a lot of people. I mean, I can't tell, but I think a lot of people are leaning more towards coming to Mines just because of this makerspace, which I think is awesome because for me, it just makes sense to have such a wide and advanced engineering space because we're an engineering school. So I think, and we have one of the largest and one of the best equipped maker spaces in the entire country. So I think that's just enough for them to sign their agreement and come here. So I've been seeing a lot of excited students and excited parents as well. They're always the ones with the phones taking pictures of everything. So super stoked.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for answering that. And I have to tell you from experience, prospective students and families like to see the facilities that we have on campus, and certainly Labriola is something that's going to stand out in people's memories because, as you said, there isn't something like this at anywhere else in the country. But I will just say, at the end of the day, when people decide to come here, it's because they meet students like you here on the tour, and they want to come to this place because of the quality of the student that we have. So the opportunities they have to see you and your fellow members of the Labriola Army is something that's really, really valuable, making a huge difference. So thank you for the role that you're playing in making this dream a reality for us. So it's great. And we'll have an opportunity to ask you some more questions later as well. And now we're gonna let's see, we're gonna go from competing for students to competing for athletic competitions, and we're gonna bring in the person who makes all the magic work in Mines athletics, honorary Dr. Professor David Hansberg. And David, I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about, people are curious about the last time they heard from us on one of these was probably a little bit into the fall semester. So they hadn't yet, we weren't yet talking about the outcome of how the teams did ultimately in the fall semester. Plus, obviously, we're just about through the winter sports right now and just starting the spring sports. So maybe a little bit of update on that, and then just give us a sense for again, getting back to the students. What kind of students are we attracting to the athletic program? So I think we got a few pictures to pop through from here to help you talk about that. So I'll first of all, of course, just in case anybody doesn't recognize David, he's the best dressed athletic director with the coolest hat in anywhere in Division 1, 2, or 3 athletics. We're very lucky to have him, and that hat may come into play a little later in the presentation today. So, David, tell us a little bit about what some of the teams did in the fall.
Well, I can't wait to tell my wife you said I'm the best dressed. I'm not sure she agrees, but I'll take it. I definitely have the best hat of all the ADs of any level. So I just want to thank you, Paul and Brian, for inviting me here today. We've had some spectacular success in athletics over the last few years, and this year is no different. And I do want to start by saying a lot of that success is due to the generosity of people who made donations, not only to athletics, but to things like the Labriola building, which, trust me, we will be bringing prospective student athletes through that building as well. It's not just a dollar that goes to a team, athletic team that matters to us in athletics. It's any dollar that comes to Mines that makes us better. Just getting all the support. There's so many people, so many fans that you'll see a picture in a minute of our football stadium and what that looks like on game day now. And, really, our success is very closely a part of the alumni, the current students, the faculty, staff, so many people go into making it happen. And so I just want to thank everyone on this call for being a part of that in whatever way you are. We really had another spectacular fall. As a group, we finished after the fall season second in the Learfield Cup, which is a measure of all 300 athletic departments across the country in Division II. And right now we're sitting number 2, which is pretty darn good. We're proud of that. What you're looking at on this slide is our men's and women's cross country teams. The men came in second place nationally, and the women came in third. We obviously just missed on both winning national championships, but Paul and I made the trip out to this race, and it was a really amazing atmosphere and environment. And obviously, the student athletes who are our starters, who race the race, are exceptional. But you can see in the top right corner of this slide, we have so many other athletes who come to the event and chase the runners around the course. And there's just such an amazing spirit about being an oar digger with our cross country programs, men and women. And Paul and I really had a good time watching them compete. And certainly we were happy with a second place and third place finish in cross country. I think if we go to the next slide, our football team had another spectacular year, 14-0, heading into the national championship for the second year in a row. That stadium was rocking. We didn't play as well as we wanted to in the national championship game. I'll give Harding credit. They were a great team as well. They were 14-0 going into the game. And I've told people I feel our coaches and athletes spend 4 or 5 days down there so focused on the game and preparing. And as director of athletics, I get to go to the Friday night party, with all the alums and cheer and dance team and the band. And I get to go out to the tailgate before the game and get to be amongst the 7,000 Oar Digger fans who are there to cheer us on. And so even though the outcome on the field wasn't what we wanted, everything else about that weekend for the alums and the fans and the families and yes, the football players and coaches is first class and amazing and just so good. We get to bring our cheer team and our dance team and our band, and so it's not just the football players. So many student athletes travel down. It was really fun to watch and turn around from the sideline and look up in the stands and see mine students who made the trip. And a lot of your support made that happen because we were able to charter some buses and get big groups of kids to come down. So just really so proud of this program, this football team, and what they've been doing and how well they've been achieving on the field. So we'll go to we have a really, really strong club and intramural program here at Mines. The rec center is about 16 years old now, 17 years old, and the impact that has had for all of our students. We have about 700 students who participate in club sports, and we're highlighting in this slide the club cycling team, which won its 5th consecutive national title in one of the categories for club cycling. And I think one of the great things about Mines club sports is they compete against regionally. Club sports, you compete more regionally, and so they're consistently beating club teams from CU Boulder, Colorado State, Air Force Academy. It's kind of cool to watch a school of our size in club sports go head to head against some of the larger schools and compete really well. And one of my favorite club sporting events is we have an amazing women's rugby team, and they come out in the spring. I think it's part of the E-Day celebration where they play in dresses and just have a ball out there. And the club sports here at Mines is just so spirited as well as the varsity athletics, and we're really proud of what they did. But club cycling taking a national championship is something we wanted to highlight with everybody. We just won both men's and women's indoor RMAC conference championships 2 weeks ago up at Black Hills State. This is the first time we've ever won both of them together, and it was truly a team effort. We had the champion Hannah Miller won the pole vaulting in the women. She took second at nationals. We just finished nationals as well, and the women took 10th and the men took 11th, which for for the whole country, again, that was really good finishes at the national championships. But we've never won both of these indoor championships together for the men and the women, so we're really proud of what they accomplished this year. And just amazing student athletes on both these squads competing. And if you don't know, they'll just roll right into outdoor track and field right now. So literally, the national championship finished Saturday, and outdoor track started Monday. Also, for the winter season, both our men's and women's teams made March Madness, and that's a really hard thing to do because only 8 teams in the region make it. The men will be the 5th seed out of 8, and the women will be the 8th seed out of 8. But again, just having both of our programs qualifying for March Madness, I don't care what division you're in college athletics, 1, 2, or 3, any university, college would love to get both their men's and women's teams into that elite field. And we accomplished that this year, which is really exciting. And both those teams the women will play their first game of the tournament on Friday against Texas Women's University, and the men will be taking on Dallas Baptist University on Saturday evening. So those two will start this weekend. A couple of our highlights, people we want to highlight. You see Pryor Orser on the left. This is his 23rd season at Mines. He accomplished a couple of big things this fall. He is actually the winningest coach in the RMAC conference history for men's basketball. I think the number was, I don't know, a lot of wins, 400 something wins. It's really a testament to his commitment to Mines and what a great coach he is. It's not an easy feat. I think actually in all levels of college men's basketball in the state of Colorado, he sits 3rd all time in the history. And the 2 guys ahead of him no longer coach, right? So they were in the past. So Pryor's still active, and we're hoping he sticks around long enough at Mines to actually be the winningest coach in Colorado college history. But he's truly a wonderful, wonderful coach and a great part of our department. And on the right, you'll see Ashley Stefik, who set Mines records for women's basketball, most points, assists, free throws, almost every category this season in Mines history. She's definitely a future Hall of Famer, as Pryor Orser. But Ashley is just an amazing competitor out there on the court, and she's just a wonderful human being off the court. But you put her out on that court in between the lines, and she becomes a fierce competitor and a leader of our team. And we're going to miss her a lot after she graduates this year. We're hoping she's got a few more wins in her to lead this team into the playoffs. So Ashley's just been a spectacular student athlete for us. We had a few awesome individual things happen in football. John Matoka, you could see the number 160. That's the most passing touchdowns in college football history of any level ever in history. This is an amazing feat. He also set the record for the most touchdowns responsible for at 191. And nobody who's ever played college football in the history of college football of any level is better than that. So I'm not sure if anyone can come close to this. I think the record he set will stand for a while. I think he actually only had 30 rushing touchdowns because I believe he actually caught 1 touchdown on a trick play. So that rounds him out to 191 if I did my math right. But John is just a spectacular human being. We're actually hosting our first ever NFL Pro Day tomorrow morning We have a couple of our players who are trying out for NFL scouts, and we have a couple other players from other campuses across Colorado who will be here as well. And we have several NFL scouts coming. I think the worst case scenario for John would be playing for the Toronto Argonauts in the Canadian Football League, who bought his rights, which is kind of how it works. There's not really a draft there. So John's going to try and play professionally. On the left, you'll see Levi Johnson. He won the Upshaw Award for the best lineman in Division II. We've never had someone win that. He could potentially come back this fall. He's trying to decide. He has one more fall of eligibility. And he would also be a pretty good NFL prospect. It would help him to come back and play. We're letting him have a little rest this semester, and he'll make his decision at the end of the spring to see if he wants to come back. But that would be great if he decides to come back to Mines. On the left, you see Nolan Reeve. He's another unbelievable defensive football player on our team. He was an academic All-American of the Year. He also was our first ever finalist for the Cliff Harris Award, which is like for the top defensive player in America. He didn't win it, but he was a finalist. He is an amazing guy that opposing quarterbacks really don't like, because he likes to say hello to them quite a bit. And he was a huge part of our amazing defense this year. But again, just a wonderful player and a wonderful mind, student athlete. And on the right is Zoe Baker. You could see she won her 4th Elite 90 award, which is the person who participates in the NCAA championship level. So you have to qualify for the championships. And it's the student athlete there who has the highest grade point average. I want you to think about some of the schools in Division II. And to think that Zoe is competing at this level and winning this award 4 times in her career. And she is trying to remember, I think she's a computer science and applied math major. She's a dual major, and now she's getting her master's in computer science. She also, not this year, but the year before, was a finalist for Woman of the Year in the entire NCAA. There were only 9 finalists between Division I, Division II, Division III. She didn't win it, even though she should have. But to be one of the finalists for that award tells you what an amazing human being she is, and representing, Mines nationally for that kind of award. And that banquet and ceremony took place at the NCAA meetings in January. And I got to attend that, and it was a wonderful presentation. But Zoe is an amazing ambassador for Mines and Mines athletics. Kind of a interesting story that happened this year. Yahir Salazar is a wrestler for us at Mines. He's also a walk-on on our football team. And about 2 weeks before school began, and for him, when he was supposed to report for football camp, he was in a horrific car accident. And unfortunately, he lost his left leg, as you can see in this picture. And Yahir went through many, many weeks of rehab and recovery and surgery. He's fortunate to be with us still. But Yahir is an inspiration to everyone here at Mines. He, I believe he's a Betcher Scholar, isn't that right, Paul? He's a Betcher Scholar. This kid is sharp, and I've never seen, I always talk about being relentlessly positive. It's kind of my mantra, but this kid lives it every day. And his spirit and his resolve to get back has been incredible. He obviously missed the fall semester. He took a semester off while he was recovering, and he's back. At Mines, he's cleared to wrestle. He's learning how to wrestle with one leg, and he plans to be back out on the mat competing next year with the wrestling program. And what a story. UC Health did an entire story about Yahir and his journey. And we're just so proud of him. He also embodies what it means to be an Oregon. Never give up.
Awesome. Thank you, David. I think we'll have some questions for you in a little while after we wrap up with Melanie here in a second. But I would like to say, since you were just talking about you here, one of the things I had great privilege to have coffee with him not too long ago, and his whole goal is next year when wrestling starts that we pack Volk Arena for the wrestling team. And so I've promised him I'm going to help with that. David, I know, is going to help with that. I know some other folks that are going to help with that, but we are going to make sure that gym is packed and rocking. And so anybody who's watching this, I hope you can come out with us and join that as well. He wants the recognition for his team and for everybody to see what great students we have on the wrestling team as well. So anyway, mark that on your calendars whenever the season starts next year to come on out. We're gonna have to. I won't be able to rock the lock. We're gonna have to have a new name for whatever we're gonna do in Volk there, David. So your team, your marketing team has time to work that out a little bit for us. So anyway, wrapping up discussions for today before we get into the general Q&A, we've got Melanie Westergaard, as Brian said, president of the Alumni Board, and of course one of our aspirations for our Minds at 150 strategic plan is to be the exemplar university for alumni engagement and involvement. And I know Melanie and the board have taken that to heart, and they've been working really hard on that. There's some very visible places where alumni show up here on campus. I've got the infamous weighing of the rocks before the M climb for people to check out whether or not their rock meets the 10-pound standard or not. That's something a certain group of alumni take very seriously. We've also had lots of volunteers. We've got Sevi Swift here in the photo, who come out to help us with Ordigger Camp. And this year, starting the fall, every student who comes to Minds is going to go to Ordigger Camps. This is the first year where we're scaling up Ordigger Camp to like 1,500, 1,600-ish students going there in August. And we're going to need some help, Melanie. So I hope you're going to be able to rustle up some folks who are excited to come up and meet our students in their first few days at Minds and pass along their love and advice as alumni. But of course, there's lots of other ways to be involved. And I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are now that you're taking things over, and you can explain to people what that thing is on the right-hand side of the picture.
Well, thank you, Dr. Johnson. And it is just a pleasure to join you this evening. And it's just so exciting to hear what's happening across the board at Minds. And I'm so humbled and honored to be in the Ordigger community, serving on the Minds Alumni Board and being involved with so many great things that are happening on campus. And I just have to say, it's so fun to be involved, and I don't have to do any homework. Right? It's great to be part of the community. On the screen it's a flat blaster, and I did win a coloring contest when I was 6, and I was in the front page of the Golden Transcript. And so I took my skills to heart, and I colored a Minds flat blaster, and I have all the prerequisite kind of things you might want to do before graduating. It was a lot of fun. So that is available for everyone to do that if they choose to do that. On the weare.minds.edu/150 website. And there's a lot of other opportunities to engage with Minds as well. As far as the alumni population goes, what we're really trying to do is just engage everybody. Find a place where people want to kind of plug into Minds. I first basically came back to Minds in a formal manner, actually about 20 years ago. I led a E-Days Around the World, which is coming up April 13th. I was living in Scotland, and that was kind of my first formal reconnection back to the Colorado School of Mines, and have continued to get more and more involved ever since. The opportunity set that we're looking at doing with the Alumni Board, it's really focusing on 4 key pillars. Student to alumni transition. How do we create these awesome students and engage them throughout their whole process at Mines and become engaged alums as well? There's so many opportunities to give back through the Mines alumni and engagement opportunities, such as volunteering for or Digger campus, the pictures in the past slides showed. So student to alumni transition, how do we plug into that? We made a video for CSM 101 class to kind of show what's possible as an alum in terms of maybe different career paths you could take. We're also keen to support the lifelong learning and development for alums and working with Sam Spiegel and Dr. John Bradford on that entity. The third thing is special interest groups, of which we have 3. There's the entrepreneurship and innovation, which is a great time to be involved with that. There's an entrepreneurship showcase on April 4th, which is the 3rd annual. Aerospace, there's a trajectories event in the fall every year. And Women of Minds, we just had on Saturday about 75 alumnus show up for Women of Minds, Forces of Minds event, which is again our signature event for Women of Minds and the 3rd year going. We're also keen to support, and I know we're going to hear a little bit more about this later, is alumni traditions, events, and just places where we can influence in a positive way. I understand there is that hat that Dave Hansford was sporting and looked so good in is going to be an opportunity for folks to perhaps maybe get one like it back in the day in terms of the engineer hat, also formerly known as a Stetson hat, different brand. And also just want to point out, if you don't live in Golden, there are over 40 alumni clubs known as M clubs across the US and internationally, of which 8 of those are located in everywhere from Perth to so Saudi Arabia. And like I say, I was involved with one when I was in Scotland. So there's opportunities to join if you're not here in the Golden area. That being said, what a fantastic year to be a part of the Mines community. Looking ahead to E-Days coming up here in April. The cardboard boat races, there will be an alumni tent out across the street from there. You can probably even sign up to be on a boat race. And bring your dry suit, but it's a great time to pitch in to support the students who are just enjoying themselves at E-Days. And then of course, homecoming this year is going to be a really big deal. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities to volunteer along the way for alumni, whether it be, again, weighing rocks in the fall semester, helping with the hats that the kids are wearing in the slides in front of us, and helping size that and helping distribute those and just create this awesome new tradition from an old memory that I think is just fantastic. So there will be 2 styles that you can choose from. And I think it's out of the gates, I'm pretty sure, and it's heading in a really fun direction. So stay tuned on the weare.mines.edu/150 website. There's opportunities to engage and volunteer. There's opportunities to attend events. There's a whole events page. There's an opportunity to get discounts if you're coming in from out of town or out of state to stay. And there's no end in sight as far as I can tell. It was such a fun day to be at Founders Day at the kickoff with the blaster birthday cake and celebrating Mines at 150. So I encourage everyone to find something that is you're passionate about, get involved, and stay tuned on the weare.mines.edu/150 website.
Awesome. Thank you, Melanie. And while Brian is thinking of tough questions to ask people, and he's reviewing the ones submitted, I thought might be interesting to ask Permita what she thinks about the hats, and if she has one, and what does this year's graduation ceremony mean to you and your family?
Yeah, I absolutely love the hats. I heard a rumor about them from our class president, Jack, over there. And when I found out that they were coming out, I was super excited. I was just telling President Johnson this. I'm a COVID freshman, so that meant that I started my first year of Mines fully remote. And I also didn't really get a high school graduation because of that. So I'm super excited to rock these hats either for my senior photos or at graduation. And I think my class specifically, the ones where we're graduating in 2024, we're super appreciative because we feel like we got some part of college kind of like taken away from us because of COVID. So I think it's awesome how now we're getting these really unique hats to celebrate that. So I'm super stoked, and I already have mine ordered. So
All right. And I think the other thing Melanie didn't mention is students are going to get to customize them with various brands, kind of like Professor Dr. Hansberg did with his hat. So we're very inspired by his customization of his to provide options for the students. So we'll see what we end up with. But it's yeah, so far, as Parmita communicated, lots of excitement to bring that tradition back. So Brian, you've got it's your show from here forward.
Well, okay, we have a few questions we'll try to get to. I did want to build on the 150th celebration activities. Melanie was just talking about, as mentioned, had Founders Day, E-Days coming up, the hats. I like the way Melanie said it, building on an old tradition that hasn't been around for a long time, and starting a new one. And I think it sounds like the students are really excited about that. And there are plenty of volunteer opportunities. So please check out the website and get involved. This fall, homecoming is really going to be full of milestone events. And there were several questions about, what's going on this fall. We're still putting the final touches on the schedule, but rest assured, we'll have a big bash. All alumni will be invited to. Of course, the bonfire has become a great tradition for homecoming. We've got a special commemoration we're going to be doing for the sesquicentennial that we're not ready to announce yet, but you're not going to want to miss it. We've got obviously a football game to play. We're working on a conference, an global energy conference that Minds would host, full of amazing speakers and opportunities for guests to engage in discussions. So more to come on all of those. Again, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to get involved and to volunteer. We could use your help on a lot of these things. So more to come on that. Appreciate the questions about, some of the details. Promise you, we're pulling all that together for you. In addition to the 150th celebration activities, which we're all very excited about, there's a lot of construction going on campus. We've mentioned, President Johnson mentioned a few of them that are really important. There are others going on. One of the questions that was pretty consistent is about the residence hall and what we're doing to continue the on-campus experience for students. So maybe Paul, a few comments on that.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Yeah, if people remember, one of our goals again in the strategic plan is to make sure we have enough housing so that students can live on campus for the first 2 years while they're here at Minds. And one of the, I think it's obvious to people why we want to do the first year. The second year is something that families are looking for, particularly students from out of state are very interested in that. And we want to make sure students can take advantage of all the resources on campus. The other driving factor that's leading that direction is obviously the cost of housing in the Golden area and the fact that the availability of housing within the immediate Golden area is decreasing over time. So students are having to commute from farther away, sometimes 30 minutes away from campus. So that brings a lot of vehicle traffic to campus. It means that students are spending a lot of time in their cars and not necessarily taking advantage of the resources on campus. And so we've been working really hard to get to, we've already gotten to the point where we have enough housing for all the first year. We have enough to cover about a third of the second years, and now we're going to be adding enough housing to again meet that goal where students can live on campus for the first 2 years. In order to do that, we started a couple years ago with a project at 1750 Jackson, which was for second year students, and then we've been working on Mines Park already for some time, where we're adding in total probably about 500 beds of extra capacity than what's been up there before through renovating existing units and building new units where some inefficient units were sitting up there on campus. And then the large project is a roughly an 800 bed sophomore housing property, which is going to go on the south side of 19th Street between 6th and Illinois. And that's a project that we've worked with the city for some time now. The city's interested in this as well because number one, their concerns are you know, that basically the competition for housing between students and other people who want to live in Golden, as well as the traffic created by students from driving from all over the place. So we've worked with them for quite some time on a project that's we will be officially sort of starting construction on probably this spring, this summer. Again, we worked with the city on this for quite some time. It went up before the city council I don't remember if it was this week or last week. And the council voted 6-1 in support of the project for all the reasons. I think everybody in the city understands the reason why we need to provide housing for our students here on campus. Of course, I think with any project, not everybody is in unanimous agreement, but we did work pretty closely with the city, and we're excited to get that project going here in the next few months.
Terrific. Thank you. Well, just to kind of wrap up here, our hour is coming to a close, and I want to say thank you for our presenters, our panelists. Parmita, you were awesome. Good luck with the rest of the semester, and we'll be keeping an eye on you as you move on to the next phase. David, you're the best, man. Appreciate you and your leadership. Melanie, we love having you as president of the alumni board. You're incredible to work with, so thank you. And President Johnson, awesome job. A lot of exciting things going on right now, and it's hard to, sometimes we forget even all the amazing things. It's just so much, but we really appreciate your leadership in taking Minds to new heights. So I'll close by saying thank you again to all of you. And we continue, and I think you continue to demonstrate that we are in awe of our amazing Minds students, faculty, staff. We're also inspired by the incredible alumni and donors. As David mentioned, there's just a lot of pride for Minds right now, and we want to keep that momentum going. And so stay informed, get engaged, be involved, make a difference to help Minds in its relentless pursuit of excellence. We appreciate what you've done, and we look forward to seeing you and having you a part of the Minds community here in the future. Thanks so much, everybody.
Go Diggers.